Hey friends, it's Awkwardly Random with Cinthya and Michelle, where we talk about random topics.
Anything and everything awkward is on the table, so let's dive right in.
Hey everybody, it's Cinthya.
And it's Michelle. Welcome back to Awkwardly Random
with Cinthya and Michelle.
Welcome back to a new episode.
That's right. We have a pretty good episode. Well, I feel like all our episodes we talk about good like important things and stuff that at least is important to us. But yeah. This episode's gonna be there's a lot. There's gonna be a lot in this episode.
Yeah, we're gonna try to fit it in. If we can't, then we'll make another episode, but it'll be a good one.
Yeah. So thank y'all for joining us. Mish, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. It's Monday, you know, start of a new week.
Yep.
Starting fresh. I kind of like Mondays because I get this like, oh, new beginning.
Yes. I really like October.
And October, yes, it's officially October.
I just like October.
Do you like it because of the weather? Do you like it because of the Halloween season?
Both.
Okay.
Weather and Halloween. It's just a time where it's getting a little bit more chilly. I love layers. I love sweaters. I love long sleeves.
Oh, me too.
I love when there's a crisp, cold morning. Like I love that, and then it kind of warms up throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also get to spend time with my family and do like trick or treating and stuff, or handing out candy. I mean,
yeah, I love sweater weather. It's so great. And it feels so fresh, like in the morning. Like, yes, it gets chilly, but if you put on a sweater or like a light jacket, it's perfect. It feels great. And then today on my lunch break, I took one of our dogs on a walk. The other one was at daycare. And we were on a walk outside. It was sunny. It was warm, but not too hot. So it was great.
Yeah, that's nice.
It was great. And
we should talk about dog daycare in another episode, but that's a good topic.
It's expensive.
I'm just gonna keep that in mind.
Okay.
I'm just wondering how much you pay, how are the logistics, good like pros and cons about that. But yeah, another episode.
We'll bookmark that.
Yeah.
I really want to go to Fright Fest.
Yes.
That's my goal this month. I've never been.
We should go. Let's go. We should go.
And now that you're in the Midwest.
Yeah, I'm down. The drive isn't bad. I'm down to go. Yeah, we should plan it. And then we can record it and vlog it just like how we did the first game and then upload it.
Yep.
It'll be fun.
And y'all can watch it if you want or not, but it'll be up if you want to watch it. Okay. Let's get into the episode. Let's get into the awkwardly random question.
Woo.
Yeah. All right, Mish. This is a two-parter.
Okay.
So we don't have to go too deep into it because we got a lot to talk about, but
yeah. Okay.
I think this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you like most about your personality? That's part one of the question, and then we'll get into part two.
Okay, what do I like most about my personality? I like that I can be silly. Like, I feel like most people, if you know me, don't really know that about me, but I don't take myself too seriously. I like to joke around and be silly and be goofy. So that's what I like about myself. My favorite part.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I can be serious most of the time. So when I'm like goofy and silly, like that makes me feel like most myself.
I appreciate, well, let me first add, I appreciate that people, well, including like you, can be silly towards themselves, like laugh at something about yourself and also tease others, obviously, but like jokingly, lovingly, in a loving way.
Yeah.
And it's cool. Like you said, you don't take yourself too seriously. It's good to laugh. Laughter is good for you. So
yeah,
that's good. I like that I am very curious. I have different interests and I like to dabble in different hobbies and things. I think I generally just like to learn things and listen to people's perspectives and life stories. So I have a very curious nature. So I like that about myself.
I can see that. Yeah. You are into a lot of things. always trying new instruments or just in general new activities, new hobbies. I think you're always open-minded to new things, so that's pretty cool.
Thank you. Speaking of instruments, I was trying to drum earlier, but I don't think my neighbors appreciated that very much. So
really?
I think I gotta, because I'm on the third floor. I'm on the third floor, and there's people below us, and so when I'm pounding on the kick drum with my foot, I mean it's loud. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay. But they haven't complained, have they?
No complaint, but and I haven't had any. Like, you know, like I've done this before where like the people upstairs are being really loud and I'll like hit the ceiling with the broom or something to tell them to shut up.
You do that? You've done that?
I've done that when it's like nonstop.
What?
Yeah.
Why don't you go and talk to them?
No, I'm not confrontational. You know this.
So you just bang and then expect them to stop?
Well, and they did. It worked.
I would have been pissed. I would have been like, if someone did that to me and they're making me in my own home, I will not stop. I will go harder.
Well, if the people upstairs are being constantly loud, like they're just stomping and jumping and like, and it's later in the day where it's closer to like whatever bedtime hour, I don't know.
Yeah, I understand if it's past 10 p.m., but if it's before 10 p.m.
Okay, well, let me tell you, this happened right before we recorded. I was practicing the drums and I heard the pounding from underneath, and it was what time is it? It's 7:20 right now. It was like an hour ago.
Oh my god.
And I was like, okay, I get it. I'll stop.
Wow, I don't know. That's kind of rude. But
let's make it a
talking point.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ever do that. I think I would go talk to people. Like I would be like, hey, like, I don't know, talk to them.
That's cool. Like, I admire that, but I would get really nervous to do that.
Don't you think it's more confrontational to be banging on someone's like floor for them to hear you, and then I think that creates more of a tension than when you would go to talk to them. I don't know.
No, that would create tension. I mean, to me it didn't. I was just like, okay, they're telling me to stop, so I'll stop. So I think it depends how you take it.
Yeah, I guess I'm not used to that then.
I mean, it's only happened a few times for me, but I don't know. People can take it differently. Mm-hmm. I just took it as fine. I understand. I'm playing the drums. It's loud.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the second part of the awkwardly random questions, I guess. What fictional character do you feel matches your personality best? Go ahead, Beans. Fictional character.
Okay. So I chose a villain and a non-villain.
Ooh, this is gonna be good. Okay, go ahead.
A villain.
I have really bad choice. I was like last minute, like,
hey, that's subjective. That's subjective. Whether it's bad or good.
I guess. Okay, go ahead.
All right. For my villain, I chose Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter.
Your personality? Really? Okay,
so here's the thing.
This is interesting.
Okay, so here's the thing. I thought about it. And I feel like Draco was pressured into things that maybe he didn't want to do or wasn't fully in agreement with. Like, I think at heart, he did have some good in him. And he was a little bit of a pushover in certain instances, and especially with his father and the people supporting Voldemort.
Yeah.
I feel like I sometimes have that characteristic. I'm not very proud of it, but where I'll go along with something even though I don't necessarily agree with it. And I feel like I'm suppressing certain parts of me to conform.
Yeah.
That's where I resonate a little bit with Draco.
Yeah. But any other parts of Draco? Because Draco's not just a pushover. He was also a lot of other things.
I mean, he was like cunning. He's smart. He's mean. He's a bully. I don't think I'm mean or a bully. I mean, I don't know. I guess I could be mean, but I don't think I'm a bully. At first he did want to be friends with Harry, even though he didn't do it very nicely. Remember in the first movie where he was like, he was basically saying, come join us, you don't want to be with someone like the Weasleys.
Oh,
like really backhanded, but like,
yeah, I don't think he wanted to be his friend though.
I
I think he wanted him in his posse so he could tell him what to do.
Because Harry Potter he has a big
he
name.
Was new.
Yeah, and he has a big name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, then in that case, yeah, I don't really resonate, except for that aspect of him. Mm-hmm. And I also chose Shuri from Black Panther. This the sister, right? Mm-hmm. She's the sister. She's very techie, which is kind of cool. She's like really like nerdy in that sense. And then she is also just like a huge supporter of her family and her brother. And I feel like if my brother was doing something like that, I'd be like, I got you. I will help you out. Yeah. So I liked her. She's my favorite.
She's a good one.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Okay. Tell me yours.
You thought of more. I just thought of my first one was I said Mulan.
Okay, I don't mean to laugh. I was not expecting that.
Well, in terms of more of like, I think of her determination, her hard work, her like loyalty to her family, her like do anything for her family, and like also very like justice oriented.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought of Mulan. And then also like some of the personalities that we see in her in the like the different portrayals of Mulan is like what like my mom has said about me in terms of just like her determination and her hard work.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's who I have, I guess.
That's a good
I couldn't
one.
think of anything else.
I don't see how that was bad. That was really good.
Yeah, you laughed at it. Next.
Because I was like not expecting that. I was not expecting that.
Okay.
That was great.
Who would you have chosen for me? I would have chosen Hermione.
Why?
Because Hermione is also very like smart and cunning. She's also very curious. She also like is very like puts others first, like in friendship and like people in general. And I feel like she's always down to like do an adventure and like go save the world or whatever. So yeah, I would have said Hermione for you.
I'm also very much a rule follower.
Yeah, and a rule follower. Yeah.
I get scared of breaking the rules.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about it for you.
Yeah. Sass. Okay, go ahead.
Well, at first I was like She-Hulk because she's an attorney at law.
Yeah, I guess. Just the profession.
No, but you've seen it, right? You've seen She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's very much like she knows where she stands with things. She's like very humble. And you know how I don't want to spoil it because it's a new show and it's still ongoing. So why don't we talk about it more in another episode?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, that was our awkwardly random question 2-parter. Let's get into the next bit. There's been a lot of things happening in the world, well, like there always is. But there are a few things that have stood out to us and just some things that we want to talk about a little bit. Obviously we can get deep into a lot of these topics, but
and we can
if
people want us to. If you are someone in the audience and you want to talk about a specific topic, do reach out to us. We're down to talk about different things happening in the world.
Okay. So first things first, what is happening in Iran? I used to say Iran, but I think the correct pronunciation is Iran. So there's been a lot of rallies, protests, demonstrations in many cities in Iran, creating a state of very deep unrest. And a lot of these demonstrations have also been held across the world, not only just in Iran, and many primarily led by women. And these protests have been against the Iranian government following the death of a 22-year-old Mahsa Amini. Oh, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So from what is known and the information that's been out, I think she went into a coma. This was on September 16th. So like 2 weeks ago. She went into a coma and passed away a couple of hours after being detained by the Iranian morality police for wearing her hijab, quote, improperly, meaning that she wasn't fully covering her hair. So a lot of these protesters are demanding the end of oppression, discrimination, violence towards women. And I'm so against policing bodies and policing lives. And this is just like devastating to see. And I was watching, I think it's called The Daily Show, Trevor Noah's talk show, where he was making the point that a lot of people protesting are not necessarily protesting against Islam, the religion, but more so the government enforcing these religious ideas on people, right? Enforcing in such a violent and like abusive way. So I think that wearing the hijab, I think they called it the compulsory veiling, compulsory hijab, is written into law, or it's just a social law. I'm actually not sure.
I'm not sure either.
But regardless, I mean, I think it takes a lot of bravery for these women to be standing up, because it's leading to very severe and deadly consequences when they don't. When they don't follow the either laws or rules regarding what they should be wearing, how they should be living their lives. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. But I definitely agree with all of that. And now I think we're just seeing protesters talking about just the brutality of the government and leading to more deaths of people who are protesting what happened. And so I guess it's policing bodies and people's choices. And all we are seeing, I guess, is people showing what is happening through social media and videos. And it's hard to watch what's happening, but it's also important to be informed of what's happening and also share that information, because that's what they're asking, is for us to share what they're going through, and that way more people can take a look at what Iran is doing to the people there, and hopefully maybe hold their government accountable to some capacity. How? I don't know. But
and I feel weird.
It's hard.
It is hard. I feel weird having, I guess, an opinion of how it should be addressed or not, because I am not of Iranian descent. I am not a woman being oppressed by the Iranian government. So I think there's a boundary there that I do not want to cross.
I agree. And the reason I said that was because people who are posting are just asking people to talk about it and to share their stories throughout social media in any way that we can. So that's why we brought it up.
We felt it was important.
We're going to move on to other real world-ish. The other ones that have happened really recently are the hurricane that hit Puerto Rico, Hurricane Fiona, and the hurricane that hit Florida, Hurricane Ian. And just from, I've never been to Puerto Rico and Florida. I've only been a couple times, but just seeing the devastation of how much damage these hurricanes are doing to people, to their homes. It's also very devastating and scary. And realizing that, like, we have a role in climate change, and by we, I mean corporations and companies. And also, I don't know, I haven't really seen our governments talk really too much about how we're helping people in Florida or Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? Or maybe there is, and maybe I just have not seen it, but there's people without power still in Puerto Rico. Yeah. And I think there's still people without power in Florida. Yeah. Because of all the damage and all the flooding that happened still. And, you know, people still trying to rescue people. And you see more of like communities within themselves helping each other, which is what I think, you know, that's really brave for people to be doing. But yeah, that is other things happening in the world.
Yeah, these are pretty catastrophic hurricanes. I think they were both Category 4 hurricanes, which I looked up the different categories, and it looks like a Category 4 means that there are sustained winds of between 130 and 156 miles per hour. So like, these are pretty massive storms.
These are huge.
And yes, huge. They wreaked havoc on Florida. They wreaked havoc on the island of Puerto Rico. I am interested to see how the government is going to respond and how they're going to help, because I feel like a lot of the attention right now is being focused on Florida, and I just wouldn't want Puerto Rico to be placed on the back burner because of what's happening in Florida, being that Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. And
a lot of consumerism and corporations and U.S. Americans who own land in Puerto Rico who are not natives to Puerto Rico. I want to see them step up.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like Puerto Rico is very vulnerable right now too, because there's a lot of fear, obviously, with what's happening in Florida, what's going to happen, how much help can they get, you know, with the after effects of the hurricane. And then also they're still recovering from Hurricane Maria, which was in 2017. So I don't know, man. Puerto Rico has endured over 100 years of U.S. colonialism. We can get deep into it, but we don't have to right now. But, you know, we just want to share that information too, that Puerto Rico's also been hit pretty hard. Florida's also very important. I mean, there's a lot of people that I think the death toll keeps rising. So it's pretty scary. And I think even the Dominican Republic was hit, and other places in the Caribbean were hit. So, you know, that's why we also wanted to bring this up.
Yeah, and definitely donate to organizations on the ground.
Yeah. That
can help if you're able to.
For sure. Okay, our next what's happening in the world point is I didn't know about this. You brought this up to me, Michelle, but
because I saw it on TikTok.
I was like, what's happening? Okay, so it looks
we'll just read the sentence because I have nothing else to add besides what I saw. And then I looked it up and I saw that it was true. And then I was like, okay, I don't know where to go from here. So
okay. All right, go ahead. Read the whatever sentence you have there.
So there's a new logo for the U.S. Intelligence Community Office. I think that's the specific office, right? We looked it up.
It's the National Intelligence Manager for Aviation, which I think is under that
aviation. For aviation specifically. And so they have a new logo, and on the new logo they have what it looks like to be a flying saucer or a UFO on the new logo. There literally is no explanation besides just a new logo that popped up. That's their new logo. And that's all I have. I haven't looked into it, but just thought that people should know.
So there was a statement by one of the directors in that office.
Okay, good.
I just read this online on their site. Basically, they were saying that this was an erroneous thing, like this was a mistake. I don't know who made that logo and who didn't see it before posting it. But so it went, that logo went viral. I think you said you saw it on TikTok, right? It was all over social media. For some reason, I don't know why I missed it. And I think shortly thereafter, the agency removed the logo, so it's no longer on their website.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm like, this is a little sus. I don't know.
Well, the government did say or did confirm like various UFO videos that were captured back in like a really long time ago. They have verified that they're real UFOs or flying saucers that they captured.
And you know what they're calling it now? Now officially they're referred to as UAP, which is unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP. And they I was looking into this a little bit. They did co-write and submit a report last June on unidentified aerial phenomena. Their reports were pretty much inconclusive, but they did report some, like you said, there's something out there, and they've been looking into it.
Yeah, we should do a whole episode about it. That'd be interesting, and invite people.
Do you believe in extraterrestrial life?
Do I believe in it?
Yeah.
I don't. I know that I feel like there's other life that exists. I don't know what kind of other life, but I definitely know that we're not the only people here.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's more out there that we don't know about.
Yeah. Ooh, all right. We'll make a different episode about it. Somebody I know says that they saw. Oh, maybe I'll talk to them.
They gotta come on the podcast.
Come on that podcast and talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways. Okay. I've never had any experiences.
Me either. We need to bring people on that have, so we can talk about it.
If you have, let us know.
Yeah, for real.
Reach out to us. Okay. Next.
All right. Next up on Real World-ish. Apparently Italy has a new woman prime minister. Her name is Giorgia Meloni, who is known to be very right-winged.
Next Real World-ish. Cuba voted to legalize same-sex marriage.
Woo! That's a good thing. Yay.
Yeah, that's good.
That was a big win for Cuba and for the LGBTQ plus community. Next
Real World-ish. Rihanna is performing, has confirmed that she will be performing during the halftime show of the Super Bowl.
I'm going to watch it.
Same. I'm excited.
I like Rihanna. Do you like Rihanna?
I really like Rihanna. I've always liked her. I'm excited to see what she does, who she invites to come on. And I probably will not watch the game, but that's okay.
I think a lot of people go watch for the halftime.
Yeah, depending on who plays.
Yeah.
But most likely no.
Yeah, I probably won't either.
Yeah. All right, that's it for Real World-ish. This is a segment that we'll probably be doing for all of our episodes. So if you think we missed something, please let us know. We'll talk about it on the next episode. But I think it's important to just talk about real world things on top of the topics that we choose to talk about each episode. Because all of these things affect us to some capacity, and we need to be informed, and we need to be involved in some way. All right, moving on to our main topic of today. It is identity.
Identidad. Okay.
All right. Identidad. What is it? What is identidad? What is identity? And what does it include?
Okay. I was like giving myself a headache because I think I was overthinking all of this. But it's just
you can in this topic.
Yeah, you can. But I'm like, okay, how do I simplify this?
Yeah.
I guess it's who you are, it's what makes you, it's all that contributes to your development of your sense of self. This could be your temperament, how you carry yourself in the world, your thoughts, your experiences, your relationships. I think of like personal identity, and then a social identity, and then possibly a political identity. So I think there's a lot of layers to what makes a person who they are. And what makes them unique. So I think all of that is your identity.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely, I think it's culturally, socially, like personality wise, like family relationships, all of that makes up a person. So and it can change. And it can evolve, and it can look different. It can look different a year from now to a year from later to maybe when we're 40. I think that we've done at least I've done a lot of growing since I was a little kid to now, and I'm sure I'll be different a year from now.
Yes.
In different ways. Not entirely. Like I'm not just like, bam.
Okay,
I was gonna say me. Not like that. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So like
ways of thinking, values, priorities, those things change. But at the core of me, I think that my core has been very similar since I was very young to now. Till that, I'm sure I'm going to keep some of my core values, or just let the person to my core, how I am or who I am. Well, some of those things will stay the same.
Yeah, well, you know how people say, and I've seen this on TikTok, where they're like, this, you know, my 5-year-old self, well, this is what my 29-year-old self would tell my 5-year-old self, and but they're all yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so that's, I guess that's what that was the point that I was gonna make, is maybe at your core, you're always there. That self is there, but you're constantly evolving around that.
Yes.
And hopefully, right, carrying yourself in alignment with that. So yeah. That's good.
That's deep.
All right.
Okay. All right. What is your identity and how do you identify yourself, Beans?
Okay, so I am a human being. I identify as she, her, ella. I am a sister, a daughter, a friend, a partner, a lover.
Lover.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm Latina or Mexican. I align more with left wing politics. I am a kind person. I'm a student. Well, not a student anymore, but I was a student. That was a big part of my identity for a long time, is being a student. I don't know. There's like a lot of things I could say. I think the list is endless.
Yes.
How do you identify yourself?
Wow, that is a loaded question.
I know, it's hard.
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, I definitely identify as, you know, with the pronoun she, her, I am very proud of my culture. So definitely with my culture being Mexican, that includes like the language, like Spanish, the food, the music, the dancing, the community aspect, the traditions, that relationships to me are important. So obviously, like being a daughter, being a sister are very close to me, like a granddaughter, like an aunt, a cousin, a partner to Jesus, a dog mother to Mia. Like those relationships I hold really close to me. And now being able to be an attorney, like having those strong relationships to my clients, to my community, I think relationships to me are really important to me. And also my culture, I'm very proud of that and proud of who I am. And I basically just, whenever I think about me, I also think about like the people that came before me, and like my mom, my parents, my grandparent, like my grandmother, my ancestors. Yeah, a lot of people, like I'm standing on like a whole bunch of shoulders, and for that I always feel so humbled and proud. So that's and then what else? And I guess other parts of my identity are just like my personality, how I am, how I carry myself in the world, how I choose to be as a person. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. Thanks. Very nice. Mish, do you feel like knowing who you are, does that matter? Is that super, super important? I know you said that it can change, that you are constantly evolving, but how important is it in your life to know who you are?
I think it's really important. Even if you don't know and are maybe still figuring it out, I think that's also important to know, and also to like reflect and acknowledge about yourself. But I definitely think it's important, not only understanding like where you come from, like how do you call it? Like genealogy wise. That, but also just in general, like you yourself. I think it's a way not to honor who you are and like your ancestry, but it's a way to honor yourself. if not anything else, just not just honoring yourself, but also like accepting yourself and loving yourself, because who we are as people can be multi-layered. Like, it's not just like, you know what I mean? So I think knowing yourself is a way of acknowledging yourself and honoring yourself and loving yourself. And I think that's really important, I think, to live a fulfilling life. So I would say, yeah, it's super important. And like I said, it's okay if there's certain areas of your life that you're not sure of and that you're still figuring out. Like, those are parts that you should honor too, and like love yourself for that, or be okay with that. And I think we're always, as people or as humans, figuring out, we don't have everything together. We don't know exactly what is going to happen in our lives, but I think knowing ourselves, that's part of it. As part of like knowing that things are going to change, that we're going to evolve as humans, that like what happened today and tomorrow, what's going to happen tomorrow, we don't really know. I mean, we kind of have an idea, right? Like our routines, but things can change.
Right.
So I think that's where I like find comfort in, is knowing that I know myself, even if I don't have everything figured out.
So I think figuring ourselves out, or like learning more about ourselves and loving ourselves, is one of the most creative processes I think we can go through as people, as human beings, as beings with a sense of self and consciousness, because we get to, like you said, we evolve, things change, we adapt, sometimes we don't adapt, but either way, both of those things inform us of who we are. And we learn about ourselves through our relationships with not only ourselves, but with other people. And so I think that's one of the beauties of life. That's really cheesy, but just getting to know yourself, and like you said, loving yourself. I think that's one of the most important things. I think so. We when we were describing ourselves, we were using certain language, certain labels. So how important do you feel labels are when it comes to your identity or understanding yourself?
How important? I don't know if it's too important. I guess it depends for people. For me personally, I don't think it matters too much. I don't know. Maybe it does. I haven't really thought about the language aspect of it. That's a good question. Yeah. But I guess if we're breaking it down on the list that we made for preparing, like the different labels, I guess, that we have are like maybe like identity wise, or like Hispanic, Latina, Latinx, Mexican, Mexican American, that aspect of labels. And then we also described ourselves, or I just described myself as woman, daughter, sister, friend, employee, partner, lover. We did that. So yeah, I guess they are important to some capacity. I think in terms of, for me specifically, in terms of like identity, now we have different words, I guess, to describe ours. So like for me personally, I don't really identify with Hispanic, especially I know that we're in Hispanic Heritage Month. The reason why I don't really identify with Hispanic is because it was a term that was used by the government to group us and generalize all of us, but also having to do people with Spanish origin, or Spanish origin, or that you speak Spanish. So you're Hispanic if you're one of those, right? Yeah. And I never really identified with that. So I wouldn't identify myself as Hispanic, even though I technically do fall into the Hispanic terminology. In terms of Latina, I definitely do identify as Latina. I don't know. Latina.
Oh, yeah. Well, the reason I ask is because I think labels can be used in a helpful, productive way, and also in a very oppressive and marginalizing way. So I think language is very powerful, and there's something so validating, at least to me, to have the language or words or something to help me process something that I'm going through, or like, oh, there is a word for the feeling that I'm feeling, or there is a word for my experience. Like that's really validating, because that helps, for me at least, understand myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now, I also don't identify with Hispanic, especially after I learned more about the connotation and the origin of it and the connection to colonial Spain. And like, I don't want that to be a part of my identity.
Yeah.
So I choose not to use that term. Other people can use that term if they want to. So I think labels can be, and I like how you said it, like they're good to a capacity. And I think they're good as a way for us to use for ourselves. But when they are pushed onto other people, or when they are used to group people, to oppress them, to marginalize them, to put them in certain categories for like from a malice intention, I don't know how to explain that. I think that's where it becomes really problematic. And we attach certain labels with a certain perception of others and certain assumptions or expectations, and then that impacts how you treat them or how you are treated by others. So they're good, but they're also not, I mean, it's not really good or bad. It's just like, is it conducive to your well-being? Is it not? Is it hurting others?
But I think we're thinking about it. I think I agree with you. Yeah. No, we're thinking about it the same, but I feel like people outside of us sometimes don't think about it too critically as we're doing now. I think people find pride of being like, oh, I'm a Latina, oh, I'm a Chicana, oh, I'm
and I think
Mexican.
That's powerful.
And that's and I think that's part of your point too, saying that like, although like some of these terminologies like Latina is also based on like colonization, that sometimes people don't want to acknowledge, but it is, that although some people may find it how like the term Latino is keeping out folks who are Black or Indigenous. Some people find using the term as proud and a way to identify themselves.
Well, subjective. It's all subjective.
And that's part of it too. And I definitely agree that I guess we think about it more I think we do definitely think about things more critically than other people. But maybe others don't. Maybe people agree with us. Maybe you're in the audience and agree with us too. And I think that's why for me, I find it very uncomfortable sometimes to pick a certain word and be like, yes, this is what I identify as, because I mean, obviously, technically, if we're looking at it, I am Hispanic, I am Latina, I am Mexican American, but I don't like using Mexican American, I don't like using Hispanic. Latina, I'm all right with. Chicana, I'm all right with, but I mostly prefer to identify myself as Mexican, even though folks from, I mean, I wasn't born in Mexico, I wasn't raised in Mexico, so some folks would be like, you're not Mexican, even though both of your parents are Mexican, you know what I mean? So language is powerful, but at the same time, it can, I think for someone like me, where I can be very critical about things, it can be kind of hard to be like, yeah, this is what I identify, because I don't think that there's a word for me really that I can be like, this is who I am. But even though I know who I am and I know where I come from and I'm proud of my culture and I'm proud of who I am, there isn't a specific word that I'm like, yeah, this is all encompassing me, because it isn't.
Yeah. And I think, so I like the way you interpret some of these things or explain them, because I really try to push away from the binary, like whether this label is really good or bad. I think you can be proud to be Mexican while also acknowledging that you weren't born in Mexico. You know, I don't think it's an either or, and I don't know who decides what criteria is determined for this particular label. Like, are you not Mexican because you weren't born in Mexico, but even though your parents were? Right. But
because it's a nationality.
But do they have the right to tell you that you cannot identify as Mexican? I don't
mean,
know.
They do have a right. It's an opinion. Do I like choose to accept it? I don't know.
Well, so they have a right to their opinion. Yes.
Yeah.
Do they have a right to dictate what you identify as?
No.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I just don't like I think as I've grown and learned more about things and have had more of these conversations with you and other people, I'm seeing things a little bit differently, and I try not to see things as an either or, like
it's hard.
It's like an and. You can still be proud of something and still hold that thing accountable, or be mindful of maybe the not so good parts about it. And
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think it gets complicated or tricky, I think, when people who aren't part of, I don't know how to explain it without like, I have to make sense right now. So like, you know how like, what's her name? Rachel Dolezal, is that her name?
Who's that?
Oops, she's a woman. She's a woman who was like the former president or like vice president of the double NACP.
Okay.
And she was like, I think she's a white woman, but saying that feels like she's Black because you know what I mean? Or like, where there's other people like on TikTok who are say that like they're Latinas or but they're also white, but there's also, you can be both because white is a race, but Latina is an ethnicity, but at the same time, like race is a social construct. So like, you know what I mean? It gets complicated. Very complicated, but at the same time, like, I do think that there is some merit to people saying that like you, or at least in my opinion, especially when it comes to people of color, being mindful of the space that you're taking up in identifying a certain way, and being mindful, or like, are you actually in the community? Like, how are you showing up for the people in this community that you're saying you identify as? Like, you can't just be like, in my opinion, this is what I think. I feel like people have to be mindful of that space that they're taking, and then also like, are you showing up for the people who you're saying you identify as, or are you just using it like cuando te conviene, like when it's convenient for you, because I think that's a thing too.
And a lot of people do that. So I agree 100%. Like, you need to be mindful of, what is this label? Is this taking away from the experience of the community? Is it hurting the experience of the community? Like, what, like, exactly how you phrased it. So I think that's nuanced, right? There's a lot of, it's complicated, like you said. And so that's what I'm saying. It's not either or, like, I don't know, it's contextual, maybe it's depends. I don't know, man. We don't have answers. If anything, we have more questions.
But we're talking about it. So I mean, we're talking about our identities. I'm curious to know what people think. How do you identify as? What do you think of these labels? Let us know.
We want to
know, or reach out to our social medias. Let us know.
And we really do want to know. We're not asking just cause, like, we really are genuinely interested.
Obviously.
Yes, of course.
Okay. All right. Okay. So for this podcast, we actually had, we wanted us to ask those around us and ourselves how we identify as, to see like what they would say, whether it would match to what, like how we view ourselves. So Beans, Cinthia.
Yes.
What are some words that, or would you describe yourself? And then talk about who you asked and how they described you. And does it match? Does it not match? What do you think? Go ahead.
Okay, I wrote this down and I forgot where I put the paper, but this is kind of an idea of like what I'm, some of the first things that come to mind. I think I'm a kind person. I think I am an introverted extrovert, where I like to socialize with people, but there are certain situations and contexts that really exhaust me. And that I have to exert more energy in or for, but I still love to be social and be with other people and whatever, all that kind of stuff. I am a pretty anxious person. I I
Sorry,
learned this new
as in
word.
I'm listening, not like reaffirming what you're saying. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
No,
I'm
you're
like,
good.
I'm an anxious person. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You're like, yes, you are, girl.
I'm just like a nutter and like a person,
I do
like
that
just
too.
to show that I'm like listening, but not to like say that I'm agreeing. Just
no, it's cool.
Go ahead.
I got you. I am a good listener, I would like to say, and I'm curious, like I said in the beginning. And I learned this word. I was like, what's a word for somebody who has like different interests? I literally Googled it. A multi-potentialite.
Ooh,
word of the day.
Nice.
So yeah, just I have a lot of interests. I try different things, like you said, different instruments. I've tried different sports. I've tried different hobbies, whatever. I like to learn. So those are just a few things. Obviously I could keep going. But I only asked Jasmine. I forgot to ask my family. Oops. I didn't understand the assignment.
I know, man.
But I did ask Jasmine. She gave a lot, so I'm just gonna give a few things that she said.
Okay, go ahead.
She said, I'm understanding, empathetic, a lover, not a fighter, extrovert.
You can be a fighter. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, I can a little bit. All right, extrovert, a nerd in a good way, whatever that means to her, and whatever that means to me.
I think nerds is no, right, go ahead. Keep on.
Okay, well, we can get into that too. Systematic, a creature of habit, doesn't like change, but willing to embrace for the people she loves. Family oriented, a great big sister, generous, caring, stable, level headed.
Nice. That's really nice.
Yeah, very nice things. I'm like, whoa, okay.
I mean, it should be nice.
I mean, it's but also like I was like, be honest if there's something, that you feel
and
like.
Did you find anything that was like maybe she could have been a little bit more honest about that she didn't say?
You know what? I'm gonna ask her and then I'll get back to you about that.
Okay. Nice. How do you feel? I feel like that really aligns well with how you described yourself, which is really good.
And I was expecting that because we live together and we know each other pretty well. Yeah. Granted, we met just last year, but we spent every day together since like last year. So we've gotten to know each other very well. We're still learning more about each other, which is actually really exciting. And we're both changing and growing. So I think that's also the fun part of it. But she knows me, so I wasn't surprised.
I'm curious to know what your mom and sister, like siblings, would say.
I'll ask them.
Yeah, you should give us an update next episode.
Okay, I will. Your turn.
Okay, my turn. How would I describe myself? I made a list. I should have added more. This is what I have.
That's okay.
I have kind, hardworking, good listener, loyal, reliable, sarcastically funny. Yeah, that's it. I'm sure there's more, but that's just, I feel like to my core, that's who I am.
So you didn't put witty?
No, I don't think I'm witty. No, I'm not.
We're laughing, y'all, because apparently this is an inside joke.
It's an inside joke between me and Jesus. I would say I'm witty when, like, you don't get it. I know. I'll move on. All right. So the people I asked my mom, Jackie, and Jesus.
Okay.
And they said a lot of good things, but then they were also very honest, which I appreciated. Okay, we'll start with Jesus. He said, very passionate, loving, caring, direct, stern. I am set to a routine and sometimes not open to changing my routine.
Okay.
Very goofy, but only behind closed doors. And I said that sounds kind of wrong. I don't know. But he said I'm a very goofy person, but just not to everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
I can be spontaneous. I'm efficient, resourceful, smart, intelligent. I know how to grind and get things done. That's what he said.
Okay.
Which is nice. But yeah, I definitely agree with like he said, I guess the more honest ones were like me being direct and like that routine thing, which I get.
So I think all of them were honest, right?
All of them were honest. Yeah, for sure.
I think maybe what we're referring to is something that maybe would be considered possibly a flaw.
Yeah, a flaw. Yeah.
I don't think necessarily that's a flaw, but I think maybe to the larger consciousness, possibly.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
What
And
else?
Jackie put me into different categories.
Yo, Jackie keeps.
Interesting.
I mean, yeah, I love hearing Jackie's opinions on things. She's great.
She put me into different categories. So she had me like student employer. Okay. She said I was a hard worker. That's it.
Okay.
Sister category. She said great, but get into some arguments that I'm very headstrong. Or cabeza dura in Spanish. And when I say that I'm gonna do something, I do it. Is what she says overall. In terms of athlete, she said I'm lazy. I'm not as active as I used to be when I was younger, which is true. Personality, she said I don't make a lot of small talk, but once I meet people, I open up more. But I'm overall pretty straightforward. And that I'm artsy in terms of that. Like I like movies and shows. That's what she said. And my mother, oh my gosh, my mom made me cry. She was so nice. Or maybe I was just in my emotions that day. This is what she said. She said, sigues con... I was like, tell me how you describe myself. How would you describe me? And that's it. And so she gave me. So I just wrote down what she said.
Okay.
And she said, sigues con la tradición de mujeres que... How would you say? Que trabajamos duro y nunca nos vencemos.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty nice. That means that I am following the tradition of the women in our family who work hard and never give up.
Yep.
She's super proud of me and my sister, but she also said it's that I am an obedient daughter, which was interesting. I always worry about her and my sisters. I siempre luchas y que no me dejo por vencida, I guess. And I'm intelligent. Yeah, and then I'm caring, I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was
so nice.
Those were all great. There's overlap with all three of them, and which is, I think, also to be expected because those are three of the probably most important people in your life and who know you very well.
Yeah.
So how did that make you feel?
It made me feel, well, I looked at the list that I had for myself and I was just very happy that a lot of the things that how I view myself, they see me as, because I'm not the type of person that really cares about what other people think. Well, sometimes I do, obviously, like I'm a human, but I mostly care about the people closest to me and what they think of me.
Yeah.
And so I like that how I see myself and how I perceive myself is the same how like those closest to me see me. Yeah. And so that made me feel really nice about myself.
And that's such a great segue into the question of what does it mean to live authentically? Because it seems like the way you see yourself and is impacting how you carry yourself, which is seeping into how others see you. And it looks like there's a match, right? Like you see yourself in very similar ways. Nobody's going to see you how you see you because only you are you. But those who are so close to you and who interact with you on, you know, in the good times and the hard times, like all of that, they see a lot of your true versions of yourself. Yeah. So I think in a way that's you living authentically to yourself. I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. Yeah. That was one of our questions.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely try to live authentically as me and my full self. And I think that I am. But I'm like, I think it's been hard to get to this point. I don't know. At least for me, it doesn't seem like it, but I'm also very introverted and these are the people closest to me. So I'd be curious to know like people who aren't closest to me, like how they perceive me. Yeah. Because it might be different. I don't know. But yeah, I think someone who is more like one of the things that my mom said is obedient. And I feel like I've always been obedient, and that is like a people pleaser thing in me, not just like with my mom, but other people in my life, where I would put people and relationships first, because the relationships are super important to me. So sometimes, at least I have gotten better in living as my truer self, and not like minimizing myself for other people, and not like quieting my voice for other people. You know what I mean? And I love that I can do that. And the reason why I can do that is because of mostly my mom, who like saw like, you know, my sisters and I, we're 3 sisters, right? And we're all different. And my mom saw the differences in us, and she honored that. You know what I mean? She saw that I was more outspoken, more curious, asked a lot of questions. And she never told me, don't ask that, or don't do that, or you know what I mean? And so I think a lot of the reasons why I am how I am is because of my mom and like my grandmother, who pushed me to be that, and to not like make me feel bad for being more introverted, or being more quiet, or being more direct, or, you know, not really, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like the reason why I feel like I'm living like this is because I was nourished. These parts of me were nourished by them, and I appreciate that. And I realize that as an adult. But what about you? Do you think, I mean, based off of what you told us, that you're also living authentically to yourself, at least that's what it seems like, you know, from an outside perspective. Do you think you're living authentically to yourself? Or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a work in progress, but I think at my core, I think I am carrying myself in the world in accordance, or at least in alignment to my truest, more like deepest self. And that seeps through in my relationships, in my work. You know, for example, I do enjoy helping others, and so I chose a profession that helps me help others. And so, and it also carries like my core self, my values, that carries also into the people who I trust, the people who provide me with the support system, and reciprocal, right? I do the same for them. And it's why I have the friends that I have. It's why I have the family that I hold close. It's why I have the person in my life that I chose as my partner. Like, it informed him a lot of my relationships and who I choose to spend time with and grow with. So yeah, I think I am. I think I'm still working on it, constantly learning about myself, but it's part of life.
Yeah, it's hard to always, like, minute by minute, live authentically to yourself. I think sometimes that it's not possible, or it's not realistic. At least for me, I think in certain instances, as a woman of color in the legal field, being authentically myself is not like, it would be difficult. Like, it's not something that I could do, I think, and be taken seriously in my profession. Or maybe, you know, I would hope that you can, but in certain situations, I know that it's not really realistic. So, I think that if you can live authentically to yourself, definitely do it. But I think certain situations call for different sides of a person. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But I also think that even though you may be showing different sides to yourself in certain situations, I still think that can still be someone's authentic self.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. Maybe people think differently, but I still think that you can.
Well, yeah, I think there's different versions of the self, but it's still the self.
Yeah. Unless you're going against your own values and morals, then maybe I would say that you're not living authentically to yourself. Then I would say no. And
that's up to you to figure out when and if you're doing that.
Yeah.
So
true.
This is awesome. I really like this conversation.
This was nice.
That was it, y'all. Thank you for joining us.
It's been a really long episode now, so I think we're going to do a different part where we just talk about our families and our identities with our families. Both of our parents are from Mexico, different parts of Mexico. So it'd be really nice for us to get into that. But yeah, stay tuned for that one.
Stay tuned. Identity is something that we'll be continuing to talk about probably in future episodes. Not just the family part of it, but there's so many facets to it. So, and it's a really interesting topic. It's relatable to everybody. It's important. So we're going to keep going with it. We hope you liked the real world-ish segment.
Yeah.
Because we really wanted to incorporate that and keep, just like we said, it's important to stay informed about what's happening in the world. Obviously, we covered only four or 5 points. There's a lot more things happening in the world. So if there's anything in specific that you would want us to talk about or bring up, let us know. We would be happy to do so.
Yep.
And that's it. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We will catch you at the next one.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.